Welcome to Leonard's Stories, where every story touches the heart. No one knows when a traitor's mask begins to crack. Sometimes it doesn't break with a scream, but with a familiar look, or the scent of old perfume wafting through the crowd. The man once believed he controlled everything: the lighting, the camera, the emotions of others. But he forgot one thing. In every film, the director eventually becomes his own character. That morning, no one noticed anything different. He arrived earlier than usual, carrying a cup of black coffee without sugar and a headache that had not yet subsided. On the desk was the same script, the red slashes marking each scene. Only today, someone else was rewriting the film in their own way. Monday, 7:45 in the morning. Cassian Hart parked his silver SUV in the lot, the back door still scratched from last week's backstop. He had a cup of black coffee without sugar, his head still aching from lack of sleep. The studio was packed with people. The smell of burnt coffee, the smoke from the generator, the sound of hammers, the laughter of the prop crew arguing. Cassian walked into the makeup room, put the script on the table. The bright yellow mirror reflected his gaunt, stubbled face. He picked up the razor and pulled hard. A small scratch bled. "That's great," he muttered. "Razors betray." The phone vibrated. A message from the PR department. "Press conference this afternoon. Remember to say, 'The crew is family.' And don't mention Astra." Astra Monroe, her ex. She left 8 months ago, right before the final scene. The scent of her bitter orange vanilla perfume still lingered in the room. Beneath the farewell note, a single line: "You should make movies for the story, not for me." At 8:18, the production assistant brought in the new assistant candidate's resume. Name: Vesper Lane. Black and white photo, hair in a low bun, calm eyes. "What did she do?" Cassian asked. "Fashion manager, punctual, professional." The phone rang. "Cassian Hart." A woman's voice rang out clearly. "I'm Vesper Lane. I'm 15 minutes early. Can I see you now?" "Director's office, left hallway. If you want to be hired, give me a reason." "I changed my pen this afternoon, from a black ballpoint pen to a blue gel pen. I brought both. And a Band-Aid because I always scratch my fingers when I open files." Cassian paused for a few seconds. "Are you following me? I just read the habits of the person I'm working with. Come in." The door opened. She walked in, gray blazer, black pants, hair pulled back. She set the coffee on the table. "No sugar, freshly brewed. I thought you liked it that way." Cassian looked at the coffee and then looked up. The scent of vanilla bitter orange wafted through the air. He paused. "You're so prepared." "Preparation is how I survive." "Why do you want to work with me?" "Because you're the only one who can control both the frame and the person in it." Cassian smiled faintly. "That sounds dangerous." "Danger is the most exciting part of this job." They went to the studio. The lights were being adjusted. Cassian sat in his chair, eyes glued to the monitor. Vesper stood close behind him. "The collar reflects light," she whispered. "I'll change the lining." "Go ahead." 3 minutes later, she returned the call sheet, adjusting the car time and the scene. "Done," Cassian nodded. "That was quick." "I like to be one step ahead." In the afternoon, she filtered the interview emails. "Drop all the questions about Muse," Cassian instructed. "I'll replace them with ethics and editing techniques. Short, concise, safe." In the evening, when everyone left, Cassian was still sitting in front of the black monitor. Vesper returned, placing a small bag on the table. "Band-Aids. You should cover the scratches." "Thanks. Go home. If you need me, I can stay." Staying is fine. I need to check the supporting cast. She took off her blazer, rolled up her sleeves, revealing a thin scar on her left wrist. Cassian glanced over, not asking. At the press conference tomorrow, if the reporter asks about the inspiration for the film, just say, the story is more important than the name. Okay. They worked in silence. At 10:30, she closed her laptop. I'll come in early tomorrow. I want to double-check the ferry route. You did a great job, Lane. When you trust me, I'll do it even faster. She left the room. The scent of vanilla bitter orange still lingered. Cassian leaned back in his chair, eyes on the ceiling. He didn't see the small red light blinking in the corner of the table, a mini camera recording. The next morning, the coffee was on the table. The right cup, no sugar, just the right temperature. The shooting schedule was perfectly updated. No one knew who did it. Cassian looked at the coffee, then at the paper taped to the cover of the script. To make things run smoothly, you have to know one step ahead. He folded it, said nothing. Just stayed silent, sipping his coffee, eyes on the security camera in the corner. The small red light was off. But Cassian knew. No camera ever really shuts off when one wants it to keep recording. 3 days passed. Everything went unusually smoothly. Emails were answered before he could read them. The filming schedule was neatly arranged, not even a minute late. The coffee every morning was still hot, the same white porcelain cup, no sugar, no cream, no mistakes, no glitches. Everything was perfect. He watched her sit at work, typing quickly, focused, as if she knew everything that was about to happen. Where did you get the coffee that tastes so good? I posted the address on Instagram, she replied, her eyes not leaving the screen. He was silent for a few seconds. Good. I only work with people I know well, she replied softly. The words sent a chill down his spine. That afternoon, the crew filmed the scene outdoors. The sunlight reflected off the actor's skin, the lens flared. He stood behind the screen, looking through the monitor frame, until the scent of vanilla bitter orange wafted in the wind. Turning back, she was adjusting the actress's collar, her hand resting lightly on her shoulder, precise to every detail, just like her ex used to. What perfume do you wear? Can't remember the name. Is there a problem? No, just a little familiar. Habits are the most contagious, don't you think? He didn't answer. At night, when everyone had gone home, he sat in the editing room. There was a strange file on the hard drive. No title, no cover photo. He opened it. The image appeared. He and she were talking in the morning. Low angle, clear voice. You posted the address of the coffee shop on Instagram. Good job. No one had a reason to film that scene. He paused, checked the file information. 8:42 a.m. today. He looked up, looked around. Under the table, a small red dot blinked. He bent down and pulled out the power cord. A mini camera fell out. The door opened. You're not back yet? Her voice rang out behind him. He quickly hid the camera in his hand. No, I'm reviewing the footage. Are you okay? You look a little tired. No. You should go to bed early. Lack of sleep makes people confuse reality with film. She left without asking any more questions. The scent of vanilla bitter orange was still in the air. Back home, he opened the wine. The 17th floor apartment was dark. Only the hallway light shone in. He placed the camera on the table and turned it in his hand. This type was only used for surveillance. No one in the crew was allowed to bring it in. He opened the contact list and stopped at an old name. No profile picture, no status. His finger paused on the call button. If she heard, what could he say? That someone was filming his life frame by frame? He turned off his phone. In In the closet was the black suit she had chosen for the premiere last year. The smell of the fabric had faded, but when pressed against his face, it still had a hint of vanilla mixed with hairspray. The next morning, there was a small silver box on the table. The handwritten note read, "I slept for 5 hours. Progress." Inside was the old watch, the one he had thought he had lost 2 years ago. "Where did you get it?" "On the internet. You said you lost it on a talk show last year." "You even watch my talk show?" "It's work. I need to understand the people I serve." He held the watch, his throat tight. After 2 years of searching, it was now in front of him, from her hand. It was dark. Only 2 people remained on the set. "Do you ever feel like someone else?" he asked. "No." "I do. It's like I'm reliving a movie." She replied slowly. "What about you? Have you ever thought about being just a character in someone else's movie?" He turned. "What did you say?" "Nothing." She smiled. "It'll be sunny tomorrow. The sunrise will be beautiful." She walked past, the scent of vanilla bitter orange wafting in. He sat back, watching the screen turn off, seeing his face reflected back, tired, pale, and shaking. It felt like someone was rewriting every second of his life, with the same lines he had once given to others. He didn't sleep for 3 nights in a row. His laptop was always on, even though he was sure it was off. The hard drive moved. In the trash, he found another mini camera box. On Wednesday morning, he walked into the editing room and saw her re-gluing the storyboard. In the middle of the board, an old photo stood out. Him standing with Veda, backstage at Mirror City. "Where did this photo come from?" "On the hard drive you gave me. I thought it was a backstage photo. That drive was locked. There were no personal photos." "Probably a PR mistake." She re-glued it, calmly. He looked at the photo. In the frame, Veda smiled half-heartedly, her eyes tilted slightly. That look he had seen in the eyes in front of him. During lunch break, he sent her profile to his friend to check. At night, a message came. "This photo is 60% similar to Veda Lynn's face." He read it 3 times, his fingers cold. In the evening, she brought the hard drive. "I need to copy the footage today." "Leave it." "You haven't slept in days, have you?" "Just a few hours." Don't let lack of sleep blur the line between film and reality. "What are you implying?" "Nothing. I've only seen you forget who the director is and who the character is." "What do you know about me?" "Enough to recreate you, if necessary." The air was thick. "Who are you really?" She smiled. "The one you forgot." After she left, he locked the door, opened the hard drive. New folder, mirror draft. The video appeared, him and Veda in this room, at the exact angle today. "I'm just a stylist." "But you took my idea." Every sentence, every light, exactly the same. She was reconstructing the whole past. Near midnight, he went out into the hallway. The lights were flashing. At the end of the row, she was on the phone. In a low voice. "He's starting to suspect. Well, let him figure out the rest." She turned around, smiling. A cold, slow, very slight smile. He stepped back, his heart pounding. Rainy night. He sat in the car, looking at the rearview mirror. The rain blurred the glass, reflecting the eyes that were no longer those of the director, but those of a character being filmed. Veda hadn't disappeared. She had just changed her name, her face, and returned to finish the unfinished film, the face of the betrayer. He chuckled softly, choking. "You won?" The red light behind her was still on. Another camera, still recording. He didn't sleep for 3 nights in a row. His laptop was always on even though he was sure it was off. The hard drive moved. In the trash, he found another mini camera box. On Wednesday morning, he walked into the editing room and saw her re-gluing the storyboard. In the middle of the board, an old photo stood out. Him standing with Veda, backstage at Mirror City. Where did this photo come from? On the hard drive you gave me. I thought it was a backstage photo. That drive was locked. There were no personal photos. Probably a PR mistake. She re-glued it, calmly. He looked at the photo. In the frame, Veda smiled half-heartedly, her eyes tilted slightly. That look he had seen in the eyes in front of him. During lunch break, he sent her profile to his friend to check. At night, a message came. This photo is 60% similar to Veda Lynn's face. He read it 3 times, his fingers cold. In the evening, she brought the hard drive. I need to copy the footage today. Leave it. You haven't slept in days, have you? Just a few hours. Don't let lack of sleep blur the line between film and reality. What are you implying? Nothing. I've only seen you forget who the director is and who the character is. What do you know about me? Enough to recreate you, if necessary. The air was thick. Who are you really? She smiled. The one you forgot? After she left, he locked the door, opened the hard drive. New folder, mirror draft. The video appeared. Him and Veda in this room, at the exact angle today. I'm just a stylist. But you took my idea. Every sentence, every light, exactly the same. She was reconstructing the whole past. Near midnight, he went out into the hallway. The lights were flashing. At the end of the row, she was on the phone. In a low voice. He's starting to suspect. Well, let him figure out the rest. She turned around, smiling. A cold, slow, very slight smile. He stepped back, his heart pounding. Rainy night. He sat in the car, looking at the rearview mirror. The rain blurred the glass, reflecting the eyes that were no longer those of the director, but those of a character being filmed. Veda hadn't disappeared. She had just changed her name, her face, and returned to finish the unfinished film. The face of the betrayer. He chuckled softly, choking. You won. The red light behind her was still on, another camera, still recording. The next morning, the shooting schedule was completely changed. No more outdoor scenes, no more flea markets. The reason? It was raining. The reality? He wanted to take the whole crew to the enclosed garage, where it was easier to control. Do you want more cameras? The technician asked. No, less. I want to see when no one is filming. Who is still filming? The 2 ceiling cameras were removed. The Wi-Fi was turned off. Only camera A remained, no backup. He began to audition for himself, pretending to forget his phone, to drop his keys, to drop his files. Each time she picked them up, without saying anything, and put them back in their proper place. Don't you think I'm suspicious? No. I think you're directing me. He laughed dryly. So you're willing to stand still? I want to see how many takes you need for this scene. Dark. He kept a few people to discuss the ending scene. When they left, the 2 of them were alone in the dim light. He turned on the main microphone, speaking just loud enough. Tomorrow I will tell Astra everything. And Veda. She paused. Are you going to confess? Maybe. What about me? I just want to stop. No, you're wrong. The movie isn't over yet. Her voice faded. The last scene hasn't been filmed yet. She left. He opened his laptop, found a new folder. Mirror cut. Opened it. The video was the conversation just now, filmed from the corner of the ceiling. Light, sound, words, all saved. He gripped the mouse, his hands cold with sweat. She was recreating him, every breath, every reaction. Early in the morning, he called the technician. "Set me up a secondary monitor backstage. Don't tell the PR. When I give the signal, play 2 files at once." Message sent. "Check the sound this afternoon. When I nod, play both files." That night, in the empty room, he looked at himself in the mirror. His voice was hoarse, as if he were practicing his lines for tomorrow's premiere. "You want a movie about a traitor? Okay. I'll give you the ending you never wrote." He turned off the lights. In the darkness, the indicator light on the hard drive blinked. A small red dot, silent and persistent. Unknown to anyone, the backup system was automatically uploading data to the secret server, once a night. The latest folder name, the final scene. That night, the city was bright. The film premiere was held in a large theater, hundreds of guests crowded under the flashbulbs. No one knew that. In the mind of the man walking on the red carpet, another plan was running in parallel. He wore the same black suit, the one she had chosen years ago. His face was cold, his eyes were deep. He smiled moderately at reporters, at sponsors, at those who had called him genius. Everything was just the last mask. Behind the stage, a secondary screen was secretly installed. Evan, the technician, stood waiting for the signal. On his phone, there was only one message from him. "When I nod, play both files." Backstage, she walked over. Black dress, hair tied up, cold eyes. No one in the crowd recognized her. They only knew this was the director's new assistant. She smiled when she met his gaze. "You seem nervous." "Just tired." "Are you scared?" "No, just waiting for the last scene." "Then I hope you act it out," she said and walked away, the scent of vanilla bitter orange passing through like a thin knife. When the show started, the theater darkened. On the big screen, his name appeared. Written and directed by. The audience applauded. But he didn't look up. His eyes were fixed on the secondary screen behind him, where Evan was waiting. In the middle of the movie, there was a special scene. The scene of the man betraying. He knew it was time. His fingers tapped lightly on the table 3 times. Evan understood the signal. 2 files played simultaneously. The big screen showed a movie. A secondary screen showed a video from another angle, a real shot. The man in the video wasn't an actor. It was him. His voice was real. His expression was real. His lies were real. Secret shots. Every detail she'd recorded for months. On stage, the spotlights fell. He stood up, not hiding. The audience fell silent, then began to whisper. She stepped out, microphone in hand. "You made a movie about betrayal," she said slowly. "You just lived that scenario today." At that moment, a series of videos appeared on the screen behind him. Snippets of him betraying, lying, manipulating others. Every time he opened his mouth, a red cut appeared in the middle of the frame. Lights, breathing, the sound of chairs scraping on the floor. No one said a word. Then the sound of cameras started to ring. He stood still. She removed the microphone and left the stage. It was just him and his own image projected across the theater. When the lights came up, she was gone. The next morning, social media exploded. News sites ran headlines. "Director exposed at premiere." The truth behind the face of the traitor his real betrayal. His account was locked. His phone was flooded with messages. His email was suspended. A newspaper published a photo of him leaving the theater with his head bowed under the headline, "The man who once created lies, now recreated." In the dark apartment, he sat in front of the screen, watching the footage from that night. His face appeared tired, empty, but strangely relieved. He whispered, "You won, and I have an ending." On the table, the hard drive was still flashing red. A new folder is automatically created, the aftercut. 2 days after the premiere, the city was still talking. Online, people cut the video of her exposing him, added background music, and spread it to millions of views. Some called it cinematic retaliation. Others called it the most beautiful justice ever seen on the stage. And he, who had stood in the spotlight, was now just a name erased from the director's list. The company terminated the contract. The studio issued a statement. "We have no connection with the director's personal dishonesty." Just a few lines, enough to make him lose everything. The 17th floor apartment was silent. The blue light from the screen shone on his thin, haggard face. He sat and watched the old videos, scene by scene, footage of himself. But now, they were more like evidence than art. In the video, she appears quietly, standing behind him, holding the camera. Low angle, dim light, her voice as light as a breath. "You always want to control everything. But you forget. Sometimes the camera can fight back." He paused on that frame for a long time, not because of anger, but because he realized she was right. One night, he left the apartment, walking along the riverbank, wearing a thin jacket, carrying nothing but an old watch. The light reflected off the water. He saw himself. Not a director, not a man who had been exposed, just a man trying to understand what was left when he lost everything. At the corner of the old bar, the bartender recognized him, quietly poured a glass of wine. "Do you want to hear the news?" "No need. She just signed with a foreign studio. The new movie is called The Reconstruction." He paused, smiled faintly. "That's a cool name. I heard it's based on a true story." Back home, he opened his laptop. The screen started up. A window popped up. "Do you want to restore deleted files?" His hand paused. On the list, there was the folder Mirror Final, deleted after the premiere. He clicked yes. The screen showed the words, "Restoring. Please wait." A video opened automatically. A scene never seen before. He, sitting on the set, looking straight into the lens. A female voice rang out from the frame. "Do you have anything to say to the audience?" "I think no one is innocent in this movie. It's just that they edited it faster or slower." She chuckled. "Good. This will be in the credits." The video ended. The screen went black. White letters appeared. Cut by V. He sat still. The hard drive blinked, then shut down. Outside the window, a light rain fell. In his head, every sound seemed to blend into the rhythm of an old movie. The sound of the camera turning on, the sound of action, the final cut. He whispered, "You won. But I'm still the one holding the camera." Then, he opened the editing software again, dragging each old scene into the timeline. For the first time, he didn't adjust the color, didn't cut the beat, didn't add music. Just left everything as it was, real, raw, and no one could redirect it. In the morning, the screen was still on. A new file was automatically saved. The final behind the scenes. Below that, The system added a small note, edited by CH. He smiled. For the first time, the smile wasn't for the audience. 2 months after the scandal, he disappeared from the media. No more interviews, no more signings. Only occasionally, people took pictures of a man sitting in an old bar, staring into a glass of wine as if it contained his past. People thought he had quit the profession, but one night, on the independent film platform, a video of unknown origin appeared. File name: The Face of the Betrayer, full cut. No one knew who posted it. The account had been created less than an hour before it was uploaded. Views skyrocketed. Comments flooded in. People said it was the real version, the unreleased cut, the last evidence of a traitor. He got his first text from Evan. Someone just released a cut. There's unreleased footage. His palms were sweating. He opened his laptop. The screen was black. The title: The Face of the Betrayer, full cut. The film opened with him sitting in the editing room. The light was dim. The trophy was lying next to his laptop. His voice rang out. Betrayal doesn't kill anyone. It just changes roles. Then the frame changed. Low angle, shaking slightly, breathing. A low female voice. Cut. Keep the frame. We have the final scene. He stood up abruptly. That voice. It was her. The video continued. A shot of him falling asleep on the table. A female hand stepped into the frame, adjusting the trophy, turning the camera toward him. The lens slowly zoomed in, focusing on his tired, listless face. A soft female voice rang out, almost whispering. This film is for the person who taught me how to betray. The screen faded. White text appeared. Directed by V. At the bottom, a small line almost blurred. Cut by CH. He sat motionless. Cold sweat ran down his spine. He rewound, saw the old studio logo, his own post-production watermark. That meant she had all the original data, and this video was programmed to be uploaded automatically. He opened the original folder. The metadata read, Auto upload, 02:02 a.m., May 14th. Uploaded by V. He looked at his watch. The hands pointed to 2 o'clock and 1 in the morning. The file had been uploaded on time. The phone vibrated. Unknown number. He picked it up. There was no voice, just the rustling of an old tape. Then a deep female voice rang out. You were right. Betrayal doesn't kill anyone. It just changes roles. Thanks for the last scene, director. The phone went dead. He looked in the mirror. In it, the red light from the hard drive reflected on his face, flickering, blinking, like a rotating eye. The next morning, the media exploded. Headlines were all over. Director's banned copy of film leaked online. Who's behind the leak of The Face of the Betrayer? Some newspapers called it the most perfect revenge art of cinema this century. Others called it the manifesto of a man who was controlled. Meanwhile, he disappeared. A year later, someone said he'd been seen in Venice. He taught a small class on the art of realistic editing. No one called him a director anymore. He only introduced himself as the lighter. On the desk, there was always an old hard drive, the red light still flashing. A student asked, "Who do you think is the real narrator in that movie?" He chuckled and replied softly, "No one. When the betrayal is deep enough, the narrator will disappear." That night, someone filmed him sitting alone in an empty classroom, looking straight into the camera. He said, his voice eerily calm, "If you want to make a true movie, remember, the camera doesn't betray anyone, only the person behind it." He turned off the light. The screen went dark. The red light on the hard drive flashed once more, then went out. The last white text appeared. The end, or just another cut. 3 months after the last video disappeared from the internet, the independent film platform was hastily shut down. All the data, including the face of the betrayer, full cut, was wiped clean. People thought the case was over, that both, the director and the girl, had disappeared from that noisy world. But no one knew, in the basement of a small film school, there was a student looking for old copies. His name was Liam Cross, 22 years old, a post-production intern. That night, he sat alone in the editing room, the air conditioner humming, the blue light from the screen shining on his young face. In the file list, a strange folder appeared. Mirror reconstructed.movie. Edit time, yesterday at 2 in the morning. Liam frowned. No way. The computer is offline. The hard drive is offline. He hesitated for a moment, then opened it. The screen was black. The first sound was a breath, the steady sound of a camera. Then a frame appeared. A desk, a yellow light, and a hard drive flashing red. A deep voice rang out, slightly distorted, like from an old tape. If someone finds this file, it means the movie isn't finished. The lens slowly panned across the laptop screen, revealing a series of folders. Mirror draft, mirror cut, the final scene, the aftercut. At the bottom, a new file, automatically generated, the reconstructor. Liam pressed pause. His breathing quickened. Under editor, the words slowly appeared. Edited by LC. He was startled. Those were the initials of his own name. The lights in the room flickered. Liam stood up, stepped back toward the door, but the screen was bright. The video continued. The voice rang out, clearer this time, almost right next to his ear. He stopped. But the movie didn't stop. Every person who watched it became a new editor. The image changed. On the screen, he saw himself sitting at the table, his hand on the mouse, his face reflected in the blue light, exactly as he was now. It couldn't be a coincidence. He looked around. There was no camera, but the laptop camera was on. The door slammed shut. The screen read, "Recording in progress." There was a buzzing sound, followed by the sound of typing. A new line was automatically typed into the video file. "The next cut begins now." He screamed, pulling the power cord. The screen went black. The room plunged into darkness. Outside in the hallway, there were slow, light footsteps, as if someone were walking past, then stopping right in front of the door. The air was thick. Liam held his breath. A soft, metallic sound, like a hard drive rebooting itself. The next morning, security found the editing room wide open, the camera still on. There was only one video on the screen. The reconstruction, uploaded by LC. Duration, 1 minute. Frame, blank. Just dim lighting, breathing, and finally, a cold, distant voice. If Betrayal is a story, someone has to continue filming the rest. The screen went black. The final white text appeared. The end, or just another beginning?